Good morning. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good moment, whatever it is. I hope it is so well for you, as it is always good here in the kingdom of God. However, it is morning for me here, so we are going to do a morning collective reading. We're just going to let what's supposed to shoot out, shoot out. I'm using a basic playing card deck because I can. And we will hop in. Let's see what this came out here. Seven of Cups, huh? See how it's polarizing though? We have the greater potential ascended upwards into this chariot, to this Merkaba here that's being fueled from what happened before this Old Testament, right? This would be depolarizing if it was turned around this way. Do we see how our bottom, our flesh, can feel heavier unless we take our own power and our own strength and transmute it and gain alchemy from it, right? If this is our heart here, then it has to radiate outwards within our Merkaba here, this seven. If it's facing downwards, look at how hard the devil's got you in your own self here. Yeah. So it's very much knowing duality, it seems like, and understanding which way your Merkaba can go, as I have a hard time in my throat chakra. What the heck? Yeah, you're not being truthful about the way that you're treating yourself, or when things rise, because we're always going to have the ability to depolarize if we're not strong enough from the inside out, right? So if we're not allowing things, issues, events, feelings, temporary, anything to rise up, then you're just allowing yourself to feel heavier. Why? Why? Because it's this conditioning that needs to break, right? Lord, what else is here? What else is here? Let's see. With the Seven of Cups there, these emotions holding you down, the weight of energy in this anxiety and feelings. Whoa. Phew. Ha. Look at that. We have Queen of Swords there with a neutral Two of Wands. So imagine that we kept that Seven of Cups here. We're looking how in this feminine intellectual body is very influenced by what you decide to hold in your emotional body. And this is right here. This is the action to take because it's wands, it's wounds, it's passion, it's fire on earth here. The action to take to settle your feminine energy here whenever the emotions get to be too much. Just because we see polarizing on the top doesn't mean that it's going to be something good. Usually it has to come from that depolarizing action. It has to come from the negative to be turned into the positive. And God's giving you two eyes here, two directions, two sides of the compass here to set yourself straight on your own path. He's also telling me you haven't been facing maternal conditioning patterns to break. We see this Queen of Swords here within this seven, but then there's two. That tells me that there's two sevens here that we need to break and move forward. One is polarizing and one is flipped and not. If we allow the depolarized seven to keep us downwards, 3, 4, 5, when I just looked, we're not able to ascend 3, 4, 5, are we? If we're going to talk about 3, 4, 5 here, Lord, thank you for bringing that in. Jesus, I feel you. Thank you very much. I will detour and talk about that. Yes, sir. 3, 4, 5, we're going to see this solar plexus action, heart, and throat. My throat already tried to fuck up earlier, and here we're seeing where this sacral isn't making you feel well about yourself, and that's why we saw that Seven of Cups. However your mother feels about herself is not how you should feel about yourself. You have the ability to use this gift of discernment and say, okay, that was my mother, but this is me. Do I want to be like my mother? No. So you have the absolute right to choose and control the way that you're going to move with your own conditioning and breaking these own patterns. There is also this need to separate from a mother. There's someone who is very highly influenced by her emotional body. And once you are able to separate, to make the action moving forward in your solar plexus chakra, to create that boundary, to become assertive, to love yourself first, you're going to feel a lot better. Breaking these patterns, whether your mother's physical entity is in front of you, surrounding you, influencing you or not, it's still coming from within. And there's this strength within that needs to rise, like we have said from the very beginning of this collective reading today. But you kind of just got to put this own energy inside of you in its place. We saw both of these cards come out at the same time. And God's saying, I'm giving you the free will to choose. It's very difficult, though, because when we come from this place of honoring and respect, we still want to honor our mother, as so the fifth commandment says. However, you can still honor her by honoring your own boundaries. Mom, I can't deal with you because you're mentally ill, and I'm going to honor you that way. There's very much a need to break away from your own mother because that will force her to go inward to herself because you're no longer allowing her to play your game, introduce you to her game. You're no longer willing to play anything. And whenever we have a bully, whenever there's a manipulator around us, we have to force it to be on its own. So, how do we do that when it's on the inside of us? How do we do that when it's our own thought process? How do we do that when it's the way that we feel about ourselves? And it's the ability to use that gift of discernment, to use those two new wands here. This is a two of wands, but isn't it really two aces? So you can choose to continue acting and thinking and feeling like your mother has taught you. Or you can say, okay, Lord, how would Mother Earth want me to feel? How would Mother Earth want me to think? How would Mother Earth want me to act? And Earth, honey, is just your heart. So there's very much a focus on, reaffirming this sacral chakra here to help you move forward in the right momentum, no longer keeping you trapped in your own tropic of Capricorn and rising up above the equator, right, to this tropic of Cancer. This Tropic of Cancer would also be represented in the High Priestess card, which is we see a big 2 and a queen here. So it's this energy of the mother and this depolarizing entity. It's also an energy of another woman. And if your mother's conditioning is instilled inside of your body, then your vessel is trying to run off of another woman still. So we have to sit there and put ourselves in our place and say, no, I'm not going to think like that. I am not going to feel like that. And I am not going to act like that. It's bringing and utilizing the strength upwards, choosing to not necessarily ignore your victim side, but understand how your victim works. And if your victim's going to be a bitch, well, guess what? You can sit down, I'll throw you a little Scooby snack, and when you want to come and play and communicate properly, then we can talk. But in the meantime, you still have two aces here that you have to balance, just like a yin yang. Okay? It's taking ownership. It's taking control of your own emotional self. That's the very first thing that we saw. Wands and cups here. Wands, we're going to see those primal numbers stacking within the ones. And then the next prime number is a 3. So we can really see how where even this masculine energy is our forefront potential, and all my burps are coming up because things are rising at my tower. Yes, sir. Being too stuck in this feminine energy is not influencing your masculine energy well, which therefore just backfires on you and you're not able to create that action to divide and separate from this other woman inside of you. Whether you are feminine looking at me or masculine, you still have maternal conditioning to take a look at, accept it or throw it away, and then choose how you're going to use it. Where the queen is, there's a king right on the other side. So I bet you would have to also look at your father's conditioning and this paternal mindset, emotional set, and action inside of you as well. But right now, God's saying we're in the feminine. We need to focus on the feminine. And the feminine will only influence the masculine. What else is here, Lord? Let's keep these there. What's with this Two of Wands? Two of Wands, what will happen, what's actually can take place, these boundaries, these separations. Hmm. These better thought processes. You're going to have to take a look in the mirror. That's also what the wands are. They're wounds that you have to face, right? And then using that power to move forward. You're going to have to look in the mirror and see how your mother treats herself. Take a step back omnisciently and take a look at how your mother treats herself. How does she think? How does she feel? How does she treat other people? And that will give you a huge insight as to how maybe you have possibly treated yourself and how possibly you treat others, and possibly how you allow others to treat you, because this woman has been very intimidating in your life, which is why your victim side can absolutely rule. This is already depolarizing. Do we see? Do we see how the unicorn is facing downwards for me? However, if God is looking at it and through my eyeballs towards you, it's actually polarizing in your direction. What appears as a nine is really a six, and what appears as a six is really a nine, is it not? You have the ability to take both powers, as the two suggests. Let's see what this is. Oh Lord, I love you. Yes, he says we need to divide the way that you think. You know, we want to not see this 10, because this 10 is only going to continue to keep you downward and spiraling. And I have so much anxiety and I can just feel frustrated. I feel intimidated. I have no patience with myself. Yet, if we can just take a step back, take one of these aces along with us, we're going to divide, but really subtract. 10 minus 1 is 9 of swords. 9 comes after 7, comes after 5, comes after 3, but the 3 is included. 9 is not divisible, or not is not prime, because it's divisible by itself and it has a root of 3. So when we see that we can take one more and divide it from us, take that power to separate the momentum that's already there to help us think improperly, then we're going to see that 9 of swords. And that Nine of Swords is just that energy to continue thinking and having anxiety. But if we can take that next wand and go down to that Eight of Swords, then what are we going to have? We're going to be able to see, okay, I need to get myself out of my own thought process. You slowly have to take it back. This divine order. We have to do one by one by one. Even though Noah said two by two, and Luke 12:49 tells us two by three. But without the three and without the two, there is no one. And without the one, there is no two and there is no three. So really, God is working for us in multiple steps, because that's just how energy works. And when you're willing to surrender and start working on one, you're actually working on up to three behind it, which is also the feminine energy. The feminine energy always holds more. Water creates memory. Psalm 119, the meme in Hebraic ancient textures will tell us that. That is also the death card, the hangman to the death transition. And it's allowing ourselves to not hold on to any more than we actually need to, and letting things go, letting things go that no longer serve us. And I know that's hard. If we look at these swords here, or these spades, they kind of look like shovels, don't they? And you planted so many seeds, you waited for them to bloom, and now you're not going to see them in this garden. Now you're not going to be able to have this intellectual relationship with your mother, but you can have it with the inside of you and your victim, which is what rules your garden of Eden. There's very much this need to, well, my mom this and my mom that. And no, but God says you are your own mother now. You have to break this opportunity to allow someone else to control you, because there's already broken trust here. It was already broken from the beginning. 10 is also going to show us this Wheel of Fortune. If we go back to this major arcana, this Wheel of Fortune with this Gimel, this High Priestess energy. So it's this High Priestess energy only continues to take your wheel down in like a counterclockwise direction of this polynomial sphere inside of your tower of your own spirit, your own ether, your five elements together. Now, what happens if we can take over that wheel, take over that power, surrender, as the hangman suggested already, and allow that wheel to slow down, because it can't just, like we talked about, you can't just go right to the 2 or the 3. You have to go one by one by one step at a time. This wheel has to slow down. It has to come to a stop before it can even use the momentum and start going clockwise. If you're not allowing that wheel to slow down when it's trying to slow down for you, if you're not allowing that wheel to stop and go clockwise while God has directed it to stop and go clockwise, your own mother is going to come into you, isn't she? Because she doesn't belong there. And the more that you fight it, the more that this other end of this paradigm gains this greater momentum. It's literally taking this power and transmuting it into positivity. When we talk about polarizing and depolarizing, it isn't positive and negative. It's gaining more and it's polarizing you into a negative state, or it's depolarizing and depolarizing you into a negative state. We also have this energy that can polarize into this positive state because that's your free will's choice. Or if you're not choosing, then it's already hosting you and it's just going to continue depolarizing you in a positive way, which can be negative. In psychology, positive and negative is adding things and taking it away. It isn't the polarity itself. So we can have positive depolarization. We can have negative depolarization. It's always 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the yin yangs and the opposing energies. Think about this in your heart space. We have 2 atria and 2 ventricle, and 2 by 2, these come from maternal and paternal. But then on the back side, it comes from maternal and paternal as well, running this whole Merkaba inside of you. This chariot that we would see in tarot, however, in Gematria, the Psalm 119, we're going to know this within Hebraic ancient textures as the Chet and the Het. The Het is God. It is the matured adult energy. But the little 7, the little t, however you want to know it yourself, the Chet, is the youngest energy of Christ with inside of our inner children here. That is 7. When we look at the 8, because the 8 belongs to the 7, in Psalm 119, that is the Tet, and it is the snake's eyes. It is the serpent is around in the basket, because all he's trying to do is hold you down in your 7s. He doesn't want you to propel forward and automatically gain your new 14, which is the next step after Hanged Man and death. This temperance energy to revive both fish inside of you, your nervous system, masculine and feminine. And Samek is what temperance comes up in Gematria, and Hebraic ancient textures is the electrical prop. It's our nervous system. So when you are able to move forward out of your sacral, use the solar plexus action, you'll be able to separate yourself from your mother's conditioning, and then your nervous system is going to be like a whole new world here. Absolutely. The wheel will definitely move counterclockwise. From counterclockwise, I mean, oh my gosh, my nose, y'all. Yes, Christ, I know. My nose knows. Throat to third eye is what he's trying to activate here for you. It's itchy as shit for me. If we take 10 divided by 2, that's 2 with 2 fish and 5 loaves as well, but that's also that throat chakra and dividing it. Having to speak things clearly to yourself, come to him in prayer, as this is all intellectual cycles anyway. He will give you the right passion and fire on earth to move forward, this potential on your flesh here, because your flesh is earth here. Lord, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when this can break free? I want to see the future here. When more of this maternal conditioning is paid attention to, yeah, down on the floor they go. They're both facing downward. I'm going to pick them up exactly as I see them, like this. One is on top of the other. Do we see that here? 4 of swords, 4 swords and 2 of pentacles. Fire on earth to gain control in your intellectual body. Wow, Lord, two by two, but it's also two by three because of what Luke 12:49 states. Two by three automatically gives us the five and the six. We're standing in the heart's position here, honey. The four, the big four. Oh man. This is why my throat wants to start cooperating because the energy that's coming from my heart is just, it has to contribute because the energy is alive here. We also going to see an eight here, two eights here. We talked about the eights there. 10 minus 4 is going to be that six, that lover's position, but your masculine and your feminine coming together. Yeah, the six and the eight will then come. God is just after your heart to completely restore your prime numerics here. Because if we have this apex in our heart, the aorta, right, it's the number one place in our temple where all energy meets at one point to separate three other directions. We have land and water, and we also have air. Land is our flesh, water is our emotions, and air is our intellectual body. So as this power is going through our heart space, our heart chakra, our two atria and our two ventricle, it's going positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, polarizing, depolarizing, polarizing, depolarizing, polarizing, depolarizing, polarizing, depolarizing, and it continues to meet at that three over and over. It comes in through the three and goes out the three, where land and water meet air. And this is what temperance energy is about. If you look at a temperance card, you're going to see that balance of land and water, but also air. Air is also an heir to Christ and how you treat yourself. And Romans speaks of it, the book of John speaks of it. We are our own God. So your mother's devil has been allowed to rule your tower, your aorta, your temple, your kingdom, your chariot, your fence, whatever it is that you would like to take ownership of, but it's the act of taking ownership that you actually need to do at this point. She's just going to continue drowning you in your emotions, sweetheart. You need to take power and control, and God's going to give it to you right here. I love this so much. Bottom of the deck, let's look. Four of Wands. Oh, Lord, I love you. Look at that balance there. I love it so much. You will be successful. You have the power. Shut up. It was 22-22 when I looked right there. See? What's 22-22 plus a little bit more? Doesn't that go to 44-44? And then 88-88? Beautiful. My goodness. All because you decided to finally let go of this because you tried to control it the whole time, right? I gotta hang on to this because it's gonna make me feel like shit if I don't, and I'm just so afraid. God, I have so much control over myself now. I no longer feel like I have to settle myself from the inside. My nervous system is regulated. I have control of my flesh. I have control of my body, of emotions. I'm able to think clearly and know clearly and speak clearly to myself because I focused on my heart space. Let's see that on that card again. So here's the wands and here's the swords here. So what's to come? This Four of Cups, this Four of Pentacles. The worst of your life, sweetheart, is right behind you, but you're still trying to hold on to it. You gotta let it go and move forward. What's one more card? Six of Wands. Shut up. Oh, we talked about Six of Wands. Look at this victory here. There's this Ten of Wands to clear out this. There's this illusion that we want to have 10 of cups and these 10 of pentacles next. But really, what you need to do is 10 of swords needs to become that 10 of wands, right? You cannot move the wheel the opposite direction until you stop and you take a step back and you allow energy to do its magic. That 10 of swords has to move back to that 10 of wands, and then it can properly take the right polarization positively and move you forward. Oh my God, Lord. Man, he loves you. Oh, he loves you. Do we dare see what's under the six? My gosh. My gosh, Lord. Love your own mother inside of yourself. You have the ability to become your own mother. Yes, sir. This mother failed you in your childhood, so all you've known is to fail your inner children, but not anymore. Full circle. Oh God. Can't even make this up, y'all. Oh, I'm so giddy for God. Oh my God. Oh my God, Lord, I feel you here. He says that heart is mine. That heart has always been mine. He's ready for it. I see his right hand coming down, scooping your aorta up through his fingers, and he's moving it. He's taking it, ownership for it, because you've lost control. He can't trust you to treat yourself properly. And that's why Jesus is there from the very beginning, that youngest energy in that seven, the Chet that we talked about, to help you stop, to help you pause, to help you recenter in forgiveness and strength and patience and understanding and love. He's moving your heart. He is positioning you for more. Do I look at this last card, God? Just let me take let me take a step back with you, and we're going to remove the way that you think. I already talked about this. Yes. There's that masculine that was hidden that whole time, but I felt it. I knew it. The masculine is ready to be not so controlled by the feminine and to take over this power. Where this King of Wands is, right behind the other side is the Queen of Wands. So if we have to take a step back from our 10 to 9 in our swords, wouldn't we have to take a step back from our Queen of Swords to our Queen of Wands? This is also this very first root of this temperance energy, this nervous system. This high priestess to empress energy. Lord, thank you so much. Do you not see the inheritance that's here? And who's your king of wands to begin with in this polarizing energy? Christ himself. He's only here to help you with a new start, baby. Look at 3 eyes. 3 cannot be easily broken as 2. There's your 3. Your physical body, your emotional body, and your intellectual body. So what happens when we can gain this 2 and 3 together? Page of Swords, you become the inner child inside, both masculine and feminine, because a page is a prince and a princess, and you will have stability. Your mother will be floating around, but no thanks, bitch. I know how to keep myself because my own king of all kings has shown me the way. Last card, God says. 10 of Wands. Just continuing the cycle. Yes, yes, move this forward. I'm going to continue helping things cycle out and continue moving things forward in the right direction for you with this passion on earth. And once the 10 is there, that page of wands, the knightess, however you want to call it, all has to come in as well. 8 of cups. Walk away from what's not serving you. And then using that momentum to fill yourself up. If that 8 is there, the snake is there, but you have to say no, thank you, and know what to shut off over and over and over, right? Well, that's exactly what this action of 10 to 9 to 8 is. The 6 to 5 to 4 is. Going backwards is actually just bringing you to center so then you can move forward again. Then you can move forward again. Shut up. Oh my God. Okay, so here's this, right? Here's this, there's the 4. We just dissected it back to its root to start over. And then that 2, and that becomes the 3, and then that 3 with the 2 becomes the 5, and then it becomes the 6 because Luke 12:49 tells us it does. Oh my gosh, Lord. 9 of Pentacles. Once you stop overthinking, all of that momentum is going to show you just how self-sufficient and independent you can be because you are God's daughter. You are God's son. You are God's fish with five elements. Four. Four, four, four. You are protected. What's the only thing missing here is gaining control of your emotions. We see the wounds, the wands, we see the swords, and we see the pentacles. Gaining control of your emotions, which is what this card was about. If we need that four of cups to come in and there's seven of cups, that tells me there's three things. We have already seen with the three and the two. There are three events in your heart space that you need to clear out, my friend. Up to three events, which is also up to three is what the feminine energy holds more of. Just let it go. There's so much to come in for you. Nine, nine. What looks like a six is actually a nine. Oh Lord, I love you. There's that Eight of Swords that we talked about. Getting yourself out of this own bondage that you create yourself. Six of Swords, shut up. Sailing away from what's not meant for you and recentering yourself. What looks like a six is really a nine. Oh my God, brand new start. There's the Fool right there. 999, and there's that Five of Cups. We need to remove those traumatic events to get to that four. Last card. Two, then you'll be able to think differently, know differently, see differently. Brand new heart. Love it. I'm going to end it there before I shit my spiritual pants, and I will see you on the next one. I love you. God loves you more than me, as you can see. Wounds into light.